Welcome to this video where we will have a look at 7 tools to modify existing geometry in 2D sketch mode of Autodesk Fusion. As long as geometry is not fully defined and lines are still blue, we can left click and drag any object around. Notice that if you grab a line, it does not snap to grid. Only if you grab a point, those ones do snap to the grid. Let's create a bottle and let's make it a little bit narrower. We can also click on a circle, change the size. Again, that does not snap to grid, but the center point, it does snap to grid. Besides this dragging objects around, we here have the modify menu, and it contains a amount of very nice tools. In the previous video we already had a look at the fillet tool and at the chamfer tool. Let's now have a look at the blend curve tool. It allows us to automatically create a spline, a tangent spline between two lines, which comes in very handy in this case where I want to create a bottle and I have to move from that line to this line. And look what happens, it already shows a preview. I get a perfectly tangent spline. Let's do it again over here. These splines are totally fluid. If I would modify this point and move it around, look, they keep connected and they try to keep tangent, so the curves are always smooth. I now have a couple of lines I like to get rid of, like this one and also that one, and I also would like to eliminate that circle. We have here the trim tool, or in the menu the trim tool, T, that is a quick shortcut. Let me press T on my keyboard, T for trim. You can click on the object you want to remove, but most of the time an easier way is click somewhere else outside of it and then drag. You get a sort of a eraser icon and you can simply drag over anything you like to erase, which is quicker than trying to click it. A very nice tool is the offset, or O on the keyboard. There are two approaches. I could first select all geometry I like to offset and then enable the tool. Or alternatively, I can first enable the tool, O on the keyboard. A little menu appears and it has a tick mark with chain selection. Look, if I just hover over a line segment, it changes all the lines that are attached to it, and that is actually a quite handy function. You can disable it if you don't like it. Let me click this whole chain and then I can either drag these arrows around or type in a number. There are a couple more functions in this menu. There's a tick for two sides. Well, it does exactly what it promises to do. There's a flip icon that moves it from the inside to the outside or vice versa. I don't know how useful that is because this does exactly the same. And then there's a match topology tick mark. That is handy if you don't want your shape to be deformed. Let me show what happens if I make this offset larger. At a certain point here in the middle it can't follow anymore, but then it starts to work with a shape that it can make, but it is not the original shape of our object. If you want to avoid that, then place the match topology tick mark, and now what happens is this: as soon as it can't follow anymore, it stops following and it gives us an error here at the bottom. The next function is extend, and the help text tells us it extends a curve to the nearest boundary. Let's try it out. Let me hit extend and hit this line. Oh, look what happens. It shows me what it is going to do if I click, And well, let's do it at this side also. Also curves, it can carry on with that identical curve. Oh, and it can even go outside. And the fun part is if I exit the tool via enter, and the fun part is that this circle now is not made up out of segments. It became one whole original real circle. We can make it segments though. The next tool on our list is the break tool, and that says it is going to break a sketch entity into or more segments. Let's try it. I'm going to select the break and then hover over the circle. Look over here, we get a red cross, and over there we also get a red cross. It suggests that it's going to break my circle there if I click. Note that all of a sudden, let me enter to leave the tool, all of a sudden we have a concentric constraint here, which means there are two circle segments, but they are concentric. If I don't want that, I can delete it, and now I should be able to move these circles separately. Yeah, and that works quite well. We have one circle split up into multiple segments. That was a nice function. Sketch scale is next on the list. There's not yet a shortcut, but we can click it. Let me do that. Here I have a sketch. I can select, let me select everything, why not? And then I can select a point around which I want to scale. Let me select the origin. And now there is a box where I can type in a number. 1.5 is my scale factor. Look what happens. It automatically scales the entire selection. Note, however, that I lost my dimensions. I had put in 2 dimensions and they are gone. That's interesting to remember, of course, when you know that you probably are going to scale a drawing. Wait until the very last with giving all your dimensions, because you will lose them. There is another way to scale, and that is scale on first dimension. I took out all dimensions, so the one that I'm going to place first is that particular first dimension. Let me hit D and then pick up this line. It is currently 240, but look what happens if I change it to 360. Everything that is on this plane is going to be scaled. That is, by the way, the main difference. With the other method you can make a selection. With this method it scales everything. This method, however, is not here to be found here in the menu. It is in our preferences. To open the preferences window, we go to our account icon and select preferences. And then we have to go to the design chapter, and there we find scale entire sketch at first dimension. Yeah, that is to be emphasized. It scales the entire sketch and not only what you selected. Alright, this was it for this video. There are 2 more tools to cover, the move and copy tool and the function or parameter tool. These are a bit longer videos, so they will get their own. Maybe see you back there, and in the meantime, have fun.